I can hear people from the last video, even the spirits, I guess, but how can you say what you said about that being Moses' law and not God's law? Well, in what Moses wrote in the first 5 books, he specifically wrote that God's word cannot change. God does not change. Well, source don't. We do. Jesus gave a very important message to the 12 disciples. He told them that they see and understand clearer than any prophet before them. This includes Moses, David, Daniel, Jeremiah, Jacob that wrestled God, became Israel, Abraham, that these 12 saw clearer than the ones before them. Have you ever asked yourself why this is? It's in the book. Nicodemus, or whichever person he was talking to, because there's a lot of people in this, how can I explain the things of heaven to you if you do not understand the things of this world? If you'll take that and you understand that our understanding what goes on in the realm that we do not see, as in heaven, as in earth, we cannot understand that as well 6,000 years ago as we could 2,000 years ago, because we understood the way the world worked better. So our understanding of what sources telling us about the heavens and everything was understood better. Yeah, God's word can't change. Moses said this, but yet Jesus said, when he told the Pharisees about the wife with 7 husbands with no children, that Moses changed it. That Moses did this out of the kindness of his heart, I believe is what it said. But Jesus admits right there, the Torah was changed because of Moses' good heart, or whatever he said. That right there proves these books are not God's word. Yeshua said, he pointed out that Moses gave the agreement for divorce. That was not in God's will. He also tried to tell us in the end times, which, just like in the beginning, you're going to understand the end in the beginning, the first 2 people was not given in marriage out of a piece of paper and a ring in front of a person. They was made by source to be bonded, to be married as a union. This is what our marriages are, just like the angels above. They don't get married, they're made in pairs. We've all been made in pairs. Most of us are too worried about what we want in this world, though, that we never find source within us enough to love ourselves, both the male and female version of source, to come to loving ourselves as much as source loves us, and loving source as much so we can love these other people and find our other partner. We are too concerned with this world. The other partner, you should not be concerned about finding that person in this world if you know what you're going to, because you're getting ready for eternity. You are trying to take your house, your wife, from your actual home to your job and have her there with you. Now, if Source wants that, he's going to give that to you. But you fighting and looking for it so much, why do you think Source is holding it from you? Love Source above all else. Source dwells within you, so you can learn to love yourself the way you're supposed to. The way you can love others the way that love is meant to be. And it's not this, we talked about it before and heard it on a video. I'm a light worker. I'm going to help you. And all I can hear is, I'm from the government and I want to help. It's like, y'all call Lucifer, the bright morning star. He was, light. According to y'all, it went bad. So, because you're a light worker, don't mean you're working for the good. If you be aware of who else was actually standing in that garden right then, understand that was not God, and that was actually another light being speaking for God, for source. You'd understand that everything in that garden, again, 2 light sources. Both of them was angels of the highest rank. You get 2 humans there. Just because you say you work for the light does not mean a hill of beans. No different than I work for the dark. It's like, whew. Well, that's just horrible. Source is not one or the other. Source is a balance of both. That's why these people talking about their shadow journals or shadow books, I didn't understand until I went through it, and now I see it. And it's like, oh, well, that's what they're doing. Going into yourself, dying to yourself to be reborn and find out who you're meant to be. Why do you think Source has let this go on so long? We are made in its image. Source started off as no more than a dream. Source had to learn to balance itself the right way for what was best, not just for what it wanted us, a family, but for the future of all. Again, a house divided cannot stand. But yet, by the book, the house was divided from the moment it was created. Those two beings argued over what those two humans should do and immediately cast the humans out. Division right from the start. Jesus says, house divided cannot stand. He knew this. Everybody is talking about two different things going on right now. I see a lot. They're talking about how the Father walks this world right now in the flesh. He does. And there's another side talking about the mother that's waking up. And both these sides seem to be, you're either on the father side or you're on the mother side. And it's like y'all missing the picture. What do you think this wedding is about that Jesus is coming back, Yeshua's coming back to have? Yes, his wedding, a lot of the chosen ones, we call ourselves or whatever, get wet. But the actual wedding is the mother and the father coming together, correcting what was broken in the beginning. Everybody thinks this is the end. This is the end of the horrible, dark times we have been in since the start. This is about to go into a transition where the house is in union together. You could almost look at it as William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. The two sides of the house do not want this union coming together because it's going to bring the house together. No more war. They lose all their power. So they're fighting on both sides. There's not as many. There are beings on the light side and the dark side that are actually trying to help Source do what they're supposed to. And there are plenty on both sides that are not. The book tells you you're not supposed to trust any of these. You're supposed to test all the spiritual. That way you can find the spirit of truth. Because only the spirit of truth is going to set you free and show you what's going on here. And the only way you're going to find that is not by me or any other man. Source may use people here and there and give you a word or tell you something you need to hear. But in the end, it's going to be in that spirit. It's going to be in those moments of your mouth being closed in the temple. Trying to get a unimind, not a divided, but a one mind. That's what God Source is, one mind. Fight the darkness, not to kill it. You can't kill the darkness. That's part of Source. You're supposed to learn to control it. Either that darkness eats the goodness in you, the white in you, and is all hell, or the white eats the dark and is love and can control the anger when it needs to. But when you let the darkness take over and consume the light, the pureness within, that darkness will not let it out. The darkness cannot be in control. But it is not that light is in control by itself. It is light that it keeps the dark in balance in one being. Again, everything Source made is good, Jesus said, Yeshua said. Why you call these things evil? Because y'all don't understand them. Moses did nothing and wrote nothing that he was not supposed to write. When Source had him write that, he knew the understanding. He also knew, it's in there, the other thing, the abomination copies Source. So if Source is talking to you, you need to be aware. When it hushes, the other one's going to speak up. It's going to try to mimic that voice, that intention, and lead you down and get you just a little distracted so it can lead you further away. And the problem everybody has, in my opinion, with this is they pray to Michael, they pray to whichever angel or God they want to worship, instead of going, I just want the spirit of truth and the Source. I don't want nothing else. And maybe that's some of y'all's path, but we're supposed to find the thing that created us so we can find out our purpose and what's going on. Not just to settle for, well, this makes it easy, so I'm just going to worship Odin as God. Some of y'all do. Y'all not going to like this. Odin's not God. He was born. He came from giants. He wound up killing his parents, Ymir, I'm probably saying the name wrong, and then turned his body into this world according to theirs. And even Ymir was forged from the primordial gods, basically the elements, fire, wind, water, earth, magic, and the void is what made Ymir. So those elements would be Source in that scenario, not Odin. Zeus, again, Kronos, Gaia, Earth. Zeus can't be Source. Again, he can be a god, but why don't you want Source that created you? Go back to the Egyptians, go back to Osiris and Horus and Isis. Fine, the first three deities, main deities, look harder. There was a deity that was the invisible God, all they called it. Nothing else was even written about it. There's just very little bit about it, but it was the first God that was mentioned that we can tell. Why do you think Moses and the source tried to lead them out of Egypt? These people in Egypt have turned and started making idols from the crocodiles and all these other gods, just like we have in the book, animal faces, human bodies, and people started worshiping them. So source chose some people. We're going to pull you out of here. I'm going to try to come with you. We're going to teach you who I am. Of course, when they brought the dang bull with them. They brought all the other gods with them because they don't want to find source. They want to. Here, look. Now I can look at source. This makes it better. I can believe in something I can see. Book tells you not to. It tells you to go in the spirit. Why do you think Yeshua, when he was born, source sent him to Egypt? There are texts there from Egypt that talks more about what was going on. Jesus didn't go there just to hide. He went there to learn, to school. The Hermetic text. There's so much of that's in the book, and y'all don't want to read it. And then, the book's final, it's complete. No, the book was put together 365 years after the death of Jesus. Yeshua. It's the resurrection, roughly. The Vatican put this book together. There are books and pages and stuff, scripture missing from this book. And their excuse is, by chronological dating, these wasn't written by this, or this, or this. But the book that they put out tells you that man's best understanding is foolishness to God's worst day, source's worst day. You're letting man tell you that book's complete. That book tells you they know the way in, they will not enter, and they will not teach you the way. But yet you keep going back to them and letting them tell you the same thing that was taught 2,000 years ago. Like human civilization or consciousness or awareness has not grown in 2,000 years for us to understand that book. There have been other people writing. There's been other people talking that if the book was God's word, it should be put in that. God said, no, I'm tired of this. Source. Come find me in the spiritual realm. Stepped out of Egypt, stepped into the wilderness. In the wilderness, I will destroy all these false gods that you come with. But you'll have to stay here with me and quit running back to Egypt into your comfort zone. Your God says, I'm the one and only true God. There are no other gods besides me, but he constantly refers to him as that. Source laughs and goes, misunderstanding. I am the source. There's no other source next to me. There are only these guardians that I've made to watch over you. Some of them have turned evil. Some of them seek the power that I had planned on giving humanity from me as I merged with them. They want to keep me hidden and locked away so they become who I was, not letting us be who we're supposed to be and enjoy this place. Keep us trapped here. Keep us under a bubble. Keep us trapped in lies. I mean, they got so good at it when people get out of this world through death and they come back in, they got them believing that they chose to come back in this horrible world, that they can do some good. The Spirit does good. You didn't come back to this world out of your free choice. You got tricked back into it because it's not a way out, because something is grabbing and snatching our souls because it's in the process. It has that power in it because y'all keep putting y'all's belief in that. As long as your belief is in not source, not eternity, not in the truth of that, you're going to stop wherever your faith leads you to. Now, when I say you're all going to go to hell, that is so misunderstood. What is hell? You got to remember this verse. Now, I'm going to remove that dang God word. Source will give them over to the desires of their heart. So, you lose your meaning of hell in this way. If this person, Jim, enjoys bestiality, okay? Horrible, nasty, I know. He enjoys that. Source is going to turn him over to the desires of his heart. That way, for what messed up as it is, at least let my kid have what he wants. Now, is that hell of that kid? No, it's what he wanted. But for those of us that rise above that, and I'm not talking about up to the top, there's multiple levels. Even in the book, it talks about heavens of heavens. It talks about multiple heavens, Just one stage above that, someone that likes just having sex with humans, Don't matter, male, female, how many, nothing else. Well, they're going to look down, that's hell. He's having to, and be by them, but look what I got. Well, the further up you go, each level below you only seems like hell because you know there's a better way. For those people, it's just as good as it is for you there. But the point is where are you going to let man stop you in the search? What level are you going to stop at because you decided it was easier to trust man on how to get into that door than it is the spirit? When Yeshua tells us the path is hard to find, difficult to traverse, not many make it. Again, many have been called, few will be chosen. It's not because it don't want to choose you or me or anybody. It's because it called and you. I got toys over here. Well, then I ain't going to choose you. You didn't choose me. That's all it's about. Again, if you want to be part of my family, come into my house. You're welcome. You're family. If you don't be mad when I lock that door and you get stuck out here with the things that you thought were fun and good. I'm not going to force anything on you. I'm not going to break your arm to get you in that dang house. It's not a good parent. You've been around long enough. You're not a child. You have enough in your head if you're just looking to make a proper choice. But the thing is, that door to this house is not the only door. Again, there's different levels. Just because you walk through the door, it does not mean it's the best that you can get. You only get the best, again, no mind has seen, when you find source for source to give it to you. Yeah, this thing isn't about, it's about challenging your faith to go deeper into what the book that you swear on that you should not tells you to. The only thing that pleases your God, honestly the source too, is faith. Well, what is faith? Faith is in the unseen, not the things seen in this world. Talked about in another video. You believe in Yeshua because the book told you and your parents told you. That's things seen in this world. It's okay to start that way, but you'll look for that spiritual journey. Again, reborn of the Spirit, baptized in the fire and the water. This is Yeshua. This is the cleaning of the threshing floor so the Holy Spirit can come into us. Spirit of truth, if you don't like that terminology, because the only thing that makes anything holy is it tells the truth constantly. None of us will ever be that holy because we will tell little, what we call white lies to try to appease someone. And we really shouldn't. If someone asks, people don't like this. If I had a wife, if she turned around and asked me if her pants made her look big, if I told her a lie, then I'm dishonoring my wife. She asked me a question. Yes, it looks a little big. Or no, it don't. But you tell her the truth. And she should know not to ask you something that she don't want to hear the truth about. Because if you lie to her, you are enabling whatever it is that she feels uncomfortable, and you know that's not right. Same way for the guys. Now, does it look a little big? Well, to who? To me, it looks perfect. To you, it may be big. To another person, it may be small. It's not on what the world says about that. It's what you, does it look good to you really? Don't lie to them, though. Even those little things are bad for us. That's what this world has done, is kept us in lies. I mean, again, go through that book. If you truly knew the Father, you would know me, for we are the same, he told the Pharisees. You're a synagogue of Satan. He is very clear that him and the Father are very much alike. What does Jesus do when people mess up? He sits with them, he talks with them, he helps them through it. He don't cast them out of the dang house. He didn't kick Matthew out of his own house or get out of the storm and close the door. He didn't stone the adulteress. He had a lot of times he didn't. Slow to anger. Your God, the one that you worship in the Bible, was instantly to hell with all y'all. Y'all didn't do what I said. Well, why'd you make us this way? You're supposed to be the all-knowing, all-powerful, everything. But it fell apart in the first few moments. But y'all so scared that by saying something like that, y'all might go to hell. What did Job say? I think it was Job, probably a few of them. Whether I make my beds in the heights, in heaven, or in the depths of hell, I will still worship and trust you. Faith. He didn't have no man to teach him. Most of those people back then didn't even have a Torah to read. They had someone else to teach them. Jesus came and got us out of those temples, constantly called those people snakes and You've read the book, haven't you? What does it say? Source does not dwell in a place made by man's hands. We are the place that source is supposed to dwell. People will go to that church or the synagogue or the temple or whatever the rest of them call them and going, I'm going to God's house. It's like, you're going to a dog's house, all right, guys. Jesus sent us out to disciple in pairs, in groups, and not to have people come to us for us to go where he sent us. He didn't tell Peter and Paul, hey, you'll go find a building somewhere and have people come to you. He gave each pair of disciples a specific place to go with a mission. But for some reason, we went back to come to church. I know Paul told y'all to. Jesus told y'all, Yeshua told y'all to watch any that come after me in my name. He knew Paul was coming. He was trying to warn y'all. Paul realized at the end, again, God knew. God forgave him, source, for what he had done. But why did he talk about being in prison? You think Paul, that was talking about spirit, was worried about a physical prison he was in? He was worried about being locked up spiritually because of what he had done. He wanted people to forgive him. It's like we're supposed to forgive our enemies. He started writing to the 7 churches about how they had messed up because he realized what he had done. It wasn't supposed to be done that way. That's the way Yeshua pulled us out of. And I know a lot of people not going to like it. You're supposed to go to church. You're supposed to be the temple. You're supposed to do this with source alone. There's not supposed to be a man teach you not the ways of this world, not the doctrines of this world, the traditions of this world. But that scares y'all because I might have to give up a little of my free time. I might actually have to invest something and find the source. If you're not tithing 10% of your time to source, looking for it, you missed the point to begin with of the book. That's what tithing was about. It never was about this money, about this physical world. Source gave you very few things that are actually vital and important. Your life, your breath, and your time. Will you not give that Trinity of 3 back to him, at least 10% of it each day? And again, it should move forward. This should be your starting block for the race you're supposed to run. But most y'all won't ever get to that 10% because going to church for 3 hours on Sunday is good enough in reading the book. And then you complain to other people about going to church 30 minutes a day. If you ain't spending 10% of your everyday focus on a source or more, you should not talk about anybody in their time and what they're doing with the source. And going to a church, Jesus went to churches and temples and synagogues to upset the power, upset the Pharisees that did not know how to teach the word because they did not understand it. How many times the Pharisees, with all their knowledge, come after Yeshua and try to trap him? And he's instantly like, and they're like, oh, we're done. We ain't playing this game no more. He knows the answer to our questions before we ever ask them. Because he spent, how many times in that book did he walk away from the disciples, from everybody, and spend all the time alone with source? Just like Paul told us, just like it was told in the Old Testament. Seek me with all of your heart, mind, soul, and body. Seek me above everything else. For anyone that loves their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, anybody in this world more than they love me, they're not worthy of me. Because you're putting this person as your God now, instead of looking for source. You're worried about how you can provide for your family today, instead of trusting source is going to do it. If you'll just do what he asked you to do today, you're worried about what you're going to do tomorrow. What are you supposed to be doing right now in this moment? If you'll do what source is asking you to in this moment, the rest he'll take care of for you. And well, I wanted this and he gave it to me. Well, you weren't supposed to have it. Quit complaining. Be thankful in everything. People are like, well, you can't be thankful in everything. Yes, you can. It starts small. 100-foot ladder. You're not going to climb with 4 rungs, 25 foot apart. You're going to have a step, whatever, foot and a half apart to make it easier. It's going to take you some time, but you can make it. Start being thankful when you stub your toe. Don't hurt that bad. Start thanking the source for it. It's an experience you got to experience because it placed you here. He, she, again. And work your way up. Same thing with forgiving people. Or fine, I can't forgive this people. I'm going to pull a personal thing up. I can't forgive this person because he molested my daughter when she was young. Fine, it took me a while. I had to forgive a lot of other people for a lot less things before I could actually truly forgive this person. Why can't you forgive your person? Now, am I saying I would walk up to him and shake his hand and want to drink a beer with him? No, I'm not sure. I will love him from a distance. If I am forced to ever meet this man in person and face to face, I will be the best I can be. And I know it's a lot better than I would be because But these things that you keep saying you can't do, but you call yourself a Christian, a word from the world that came from Antioch, and we're supposed to be children or disciples, students, not what the world calls us, not titles to, oh, I'm a Christian and you're not, so you're going to hell. There will be more Christians which I call hell than there will be what y'all call these pagans. You want to sit there and get onto them for the tarot cards and the crystals and this and that, but you want to go to a building, use a book, and use a man to teach you. They're trusting in spirit. At least there's no physical person there. Now, yeah, I hear some of them praying to all these different versions. But you know what? At least they're asking all of them trying to find the truth. You're sitting there going, I know who you are because this book says it and that man says it. How many different versions of Christianity are there? I know people, well, we all have the same basic. There's one way. There's not a path that starts and then spreads out to 1,000 different branches. There's one way. All the churches, if it was truly aligned with Yeshua, would be teaching the same messages. Maybe at different times, different points, but they're not. Not the ones I went to and seen. They're talking about how you need to tithe and give them money so they can make sure to take care of people, how you need to make sure you get out and vote for this president so this other president don't do this. You need to get out and do this so these child... Like, why are you putting all this pressure on these people, giving them more worry, more concern, and more fear, instead of pointing them to, if they'll do what I ask each day and find me, I will take care of all this stuff. It is not for these people to fix this world. It's for these people to close their mouth, go into their minds, and find me. And if they find me, begin the spiritual battle. Y'all want to change this world? It don't come from here. And it don't come from here. Here. Every voice you hear in your head comes from a being. Whether it's a human around you that's channeling it, or whether it's directly from the spiritual realm. And some of the thoughts are just your bad thoughts that you need to get rid of. That's why we're told to go in there, to have a renewing of our mind. Again, Paul didn't teach stuff wrong. He just didn't understand as well as he could have. And that's all Jesus was warning. He was not telling disciples, when Paul comes, he's a bad person. Be careful of him. Be careful of anyone that says they come in my name. Because I was not here to teach them like I was y'all. Yeah, why do you think at the end of Revelations there's more letters out to the churches? Well, it goes to the churches, but it goes to the temple. It goes to the people. Today is a day. Oh man, there are a bunch of Christians right now on December 25th celebrating the birth of Jesus when he was not born on this day. Not by that book, anyways. There was shepherds out in the field. Shepherds only out in the field at night when they're waiting for a lamb to be born. The birth of lambs is between mid-March and early April. So, as the lambs were born on that night, around that night is what is waiting on, Jesus, the Lamb of the Source, was born. So why are you celebrating today as his birthday? Now, Source will use anything the other one means for evil, and he'll turn it for good. But if you go back to the Greek mythology, Dionysus, I think her name is, or its name is, I don't know, turn water into wine and all this stuff. Who do you think you're actually worshiping on this day? Now, again, are you bowing to them? I don't give a darn. Are you loving them? Well, I hope they're actually for you. I don't know this being. I don't really mess with many of them. But that's whose birthday this is supposed to be. Dionysus was born on the 25th. Greek, where the book from Hebrew to Greek to English, a lot of them got mixed up in there. A lot of their pagan stuff got put in here. They talk about the deeds of the Nicolaitans. What do you think St. Nicholas is? What do you think the Christmas tree coming into the house is? The Christmas spells. Today should not be celebrated for any other reason besides it is the very moment that you are living right here and now. Today, at this moment, is no more important than yesterday at this time. Yet that moment was the most important. Tomorrow at this time, or whichever time I want to go to, is the most important time of all. Because it is the moment I am living in. It is the moment I will find source if I seek source above all things. Not going, Valentine's the day of love. So if I wait till that day, that's the day I'm going to find, true love, and I'm going to find source. Or the New Year's the day that I get to start over and I get a new me. No, every day is these days. There is no one day for Thanksgiving. Thankful every day. There's no one day for love. Thankful for love every day. There's no one day for independence. Once you're set free by the sun and by source, you're set free every day. The world traditions have got y'all to celebrate in certain days for certain things, and now we've got so far with it that there's a national holiday for everything. All this to take your mind and your time away from the source. The world is pulled back away from the source more and more. Again, if you're going to read that book and you're going to go by it, you need to start reading it and finding out why there's contradictions there, what they mean. You go into the Spirit and let the Spirit teach you. Because here in the end, when you get there, and this is an analogy from a teacher's point of view, since she was a teacher. I got 100 kids in my class. I know which kids have been absent on which days, which kids have missed which subjects, which discussions, and which talks. It's coming time for the final. I got 100 tests to hand out. Me being not me really, but being a good teacher, I make sure every question on this is not a question from a day that this student has missed. Me talking and me telling. I don't want what other kids told him. They may not have understood it right. So for this kid, John, his test is similar but different than Jenny's. Y'all can't cheat off each other. Y'all don't realize that. You ask Jenny what number 2 was, and she tells you A, you don't even realize it's a totally different question, totally different answers, and now you got it wrong because you're trying to cheat off someone else. Because the Spirit, the teacher, did not teach you. Again, get there. Did you do what I ask you to do daily in the moments, or was you too busy worried about being out prophesizing for me, telling people what the Spirit wants me to tell them? If the Spirit wants me to tell you anything, it's that you need to find the Spirit and the source. I don't need to be out here talking. I'd rather be in there with my family on Christmas morning. They're asleep. It's cool. It's been all night long waiting for this so I can get this done with. Because it's important. It's more important than that family is right now. Definitely more important than this day is. More important than that house. More important than this truck. But most of y'all won't walk away from this world to even get an inclination of what's going on with the source. So many things that are posted about God, none of it's original. None of it's a thought from your head. It's what someone else has said, and you've copied and pasted it. Like, oh, look what I thought. And it's like, I can read that on some of y'all, and I know this ain't y'all. Why? Because I've seen 8,000 people post it. Where's the original? This is what God says to me. And fine, you're not where I'm at yet. You got it backwards. Who cares? I got it backwards too. Or you're ahead of me and I don't understand it and I think you're wrong. Who cares? You're walking the source. That means my job with you is done. My only job is to try to get y'all to go find source, the Spirit of truth. Everything else you can get rid of. And wait, you got to have the Bible. You're going to, what about the 365 years when the Bible did not exist after Jesus died to the time the Vatican put it up? How about all the time before that when the Bible did not exist and it was only the Torah and the Tanakh, and even that was not handed out to mass people? What about the places in this world right now that the Bible cannot get to? Are you telling me that source has condemned those people to hell because mankind hadn't got there? Thought he said the Spirit leads us. Y'all quit this stuff about this darn book. It's a good book. All books, scriptures are good for edification. Because it's through all of them that you find out who the source is. Yeah, a rose by any other name, just as beautiful. You're fighting over, his name was Jesus, his name was Yeshua, his name was this. The name that we actually understand is the essence, the word. The first thing that source spoke when it finally did speak after just thinking. That thing that created then. Light, let there be light. That's why our words are so important. But it's more than our words. We know they carry the power of life and death. We also find out later in the book that we will be judged for every idle word we use. Now, take this as however you hear it. For me, what I hear is, every good thing you say, I'm going to watch. Every bad thing you say, I'm going to watch. But everything that you say is idle word. Now, I don't know if you're going to take the same thing to me as idle, but for me, idle word is anything that is not pointing or directing them back to the source. And it does not have to be a direct message, source. It can be in a parable. It can be in a conversation you're having. As long as you're listening to the Spirit and communicating verbally, in your conversation, but you're making sure the spiritual side's attached in your head and you're listening to both. That's how you can bring it in there. But this random, oh, look at these rims. Like, you're fine. You want to talk about it a little bit but spend the next 2 or 3 hours talking about rims and brakes and where apparently you're not really a child of God, you're a child of this world. You're more concerned about talking about this world than you are trying to get this person to turn to source. If you're going, well, maybe they won't be my friend no more. We're after family. We're not after friends. We're not after comfortability. If someone does not like this about you, fine. Again, don't beat them over the head with it. But, okay, you don't want to talk about this. I don't really want to talk about this too much. This world has no interest and no concern to me. It all turns to dust in the end. What's important is next. So what have I done with the people around me like that? They tell me I don't talk very much. I'm a very quiet person. Not realizing I'm in my head constantly talking. But when they do talk, I listen to them, because even though they're speaking of this world and I'm trying to stay tapped into the spirit, there's always messages coming through to them as I'm talking source in my head. Conversations that link up, that just, and you've experienced, you understand. If you don't, there's no way I can explain it to you. But a lot of times you're going to get quiet. Again, God is going to, if you have not been there, Source is going to want to get you to a place where it's just you and Source for a while. That way you learn to rely on Source completely. That's what that 10% starts at. But you're supposed to move further into it. Now, I can't tell you that you should make it 90%, 85% of the way, whatever. But your goal should be 100%. Here's why. If you're looking at that finish line, and you go, okay, I've only got to make it 90% of the way, 10 yards short. We're going to do a 100-yard dash. I'm going to make it 90 yards. I get in heaven. I get to go with Jesus because his grace is sufficient for me. That's what the book says. That's what everybody tells me. I'm going to be perfect, right? Cool. I'll run my race as hard as I can. I aim for 90%. Every racer, everybody that's run, everybody that's competed already knows that's a stupid idea. You're going to fall short because you didn't set yourself to go past that goal. Well, I get to the end and I meet 80%. Jesus walks and looks like, dude, perfection's back there. I was standing at the 90% mark. You set yourself back thinking that's okay for perfect instead of aiming for me. This perfection y'all look at, this percentage, keep your eyes on me. The only way you're going to win this race is if you keep your eyes on the spirit of truth and the source. Again, Yeshua, because of what the world was going to do with that name, he was very clear. You can blaspheme my name. Get me out of this mess before you start condemning what I said because people misunderstood it or because they took verses out. How many different Bibles have verses in some of them and other verses not in them? And I said his father too. Again, Father, why have you forsaken me? He's trying to tell them the thing that they worshiped was Satan, was the devil, was the abomination. Sorry, get rid of the rest of those names. The abomination. Takes me a moment. I'm still getting into this. He told the Pharisees that, but yet once he went, we went right back to the same traditions that the Pharisees taught. And everybody now is hollering. You go back, Jesus is a false this, it's like, oh, you think you can do all these things perfectly without needing any help? You are in a world of hurt. I've been in that law. The law is meant to crush you, the Ten Commandments, to Jesus. And when you get to Jesus, the Father hands you to him. That's who he never lets go of, not who runs to Jesus screaming, hold me, hold me, hold me. Those that the Father gives me, I will never let go of. Father hands you to Jesus because the laws have crushed you to the point that, sources, okay, if this person is really trying, I won't say it because I don't know if you're male or female, this person's really trying. Here, Yeshua, you in the Spirit of Truth, teach this person, bring them back to me. Show them how to do this the right way. Show them that they can't do all this at once. It's one little step at a time. And as long as they walk with you, they're good. The moment they start fighting and resisting you and not listening to what you're asking them to do with that staff, I'm going to come take them back from you for just a little bit. And I'm about to give them a little bit of discipline. A good father will do that. A good brother's going to do what you're doing. Keep doing it, Yeshua. The good mother that no one talks about is the only reason the source has not flew off the damn handle and whooped the snot out of everybody. Because we all know a male figure, just a male, we got both in us, but we are higher on the discipline and less on the unconditional love. As a female is less on the discipline and more on the unconditional love. Again, they're offset. We got both these entities. We're supposed to balance them out. That way we never go too far without at least love going with it. And we don't let people do whatever they want to us, destroying us internally because we love them unconditionally. That's not unconditional love. That's toxic love. Unconditional love is both-sided. It's not, well, I love you conditional. No. You cannot love someone unconditional. They will not love you back unconditionally. Not up close. You got to back away. If this person is constantly telling you you're the problem for all their everything in their life. Well, look at it. Are you or are you not? You know, but back off. You don't gotta be in these people's faces. You can sit there in your room and talk with Source and go through questions and let it tell you what's happening. And if you really do it like you should, ask for it in private and he'll make it public. There's a lot of things I talk to Source about. And I go through scrolling my phone. Either something the day before make me think of something, but regardless, I'll put something in there if I hadn't already experienced it. In the next day or two, I'm seeing people talking about what Source has told me. And I've got a lot of it. I deleted a lot too. I got a lot of it just in notes on my phone just to see, am I following the right voice or not? It's not really a voice. They're all different voices, but that other one it's a tone. It's why it's got to be spiritual. It's a different vibration completely. The vibration that Source speaks on, there is no other being that can match that, tone that. Elegance. Now, a lot of things can seem like it's it, but this is why you're supposed to spend so much time looking for the Source, finding it. And I talk about this more and more and harp on you find the Source, not that book and not that church, because time's coming. And it's not coming the way people think. Again, 2,000 years ago, everybody's worried, waiting for all this stuff to happen. Y'all don't understand how much of revelation and stuff is actually taking place in the spiritual realm right now, while you're all sitting here waiting for a damn dragon to appear in the sky. Not saying one won't here in the physical world. The dang thing's awake in the spiritual world. We're fighting, and y'all sitting here enjoy your lives. Quit telling everybody what they need to do, because some of these people are actually here fighting, and you're scaring the snot out, and they're getting out of the fight. Well, we need them in here. If you're not going to step in the spiritual realm and fight these things and help humanity, not a God. Source made humanity. He made guardians for us. Why do you think he's been so slow? He wants to take every one of us home. He even wants all the spirits to turn back to what they're supposed to do. That's their choice. Time's clicking. For you, I can't tell you what you need to do, what your next step is besides go find the Source. Quit promoting that Christianity stuff while you've got a Christmas tree in the house. Or any other holiday that you're celebrating as the most important day of the year. You don't know what day Yeshua was born on. We don't know for sure which day he actually died on, because we're told he died on Good Friday, and then he raised on Sunday. He's supposed to be dead 3 days. That don't make no sense. He would have raised on Monday. Again, the Vatican has twisted that book. You're not going to get that story from that book completely. You're going to part from that story, from that book, and from other books, from other mythologies, Odin and Zeus and the Egyptians, and all of it's tied together to lead you to who the Source truly is. But you can only truly find that if the Spirit is connecting the dots for you. Everybody wants to use computers to find this Bible code. They're not going to. It's a spiritual code. The physical world cannot break this code, because it's constantly changing. It's a cipher. Boom, 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 boom. The only thing that can keep up with that is the Source, the Spirit of truth. Nothing else can keep up with that. There is no this Bible code or this Bible code. Look at what they're predicting. They're predicting worldly events. Where's the spiritual stuff? That comes from the spiritual realm. They're using a worldly book to predict worldly events. We're supposed to use the spiritual realm to understand the spiritual things going on. For us. And if we'll share it, fine. I can't tell you what to share and what not to share. Yet most of this is about people wanting to keep their faith in something of this world. Bible, the Tanakh, the Quran, the Hindu scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the lost books of Moses and Adam, and the books about Lilith. And Source can tell you all this. As long as you're reading the books, you don't know which of it's true until you start going into the spiritual battle and dealing with these entities face to face. Spiritually. Y'all pray to Michael. Me and Michael, we fight all the damn time. I don't, anything tries to get between me and Source and start telling me what Source wants to do, me and them start fighting. Why? From the very beginning, it's not been about anything but Source, about the truth of this. I can't tell you who I've all wrestled with and fought with in the spiritual world. I know I wake up at times I woke up with cuts in my eyes, muscles torn in my body. I don't know what the heck's going on, but we're supposed to be there fighting for the rest of the people. And y'all don't want to enter the spiritual realm. Y'all don't want to sit there and concentrate on it. We don't want to run around hollering you're a Christian. A word given by this world at Antioch. Not what we are. We are children of the Most High, the source. Again, there's a reason it's called the Most High. The very pinpoint essence before anything. Not something that's standing there next to something that don't know what that thing's going to do. There's no way source. There's no way you can convince me of that. It's just a horrible parent. And I'm not saying the snake was necessarily good, because in that deal, you'd have had two guardians, a mother-father kind of figure, supposed to be. They did not work together. They divided the house. In my mind, source knows which one, if not both of them. Both of those can stay out of my damn head. I've read enough of the book to know that, no. You killed your son so we could be forgiven of sins that we was committing before we ate that fruit. Something ain't right with you. Why was we not sinful until we was aware of it? Jesus came to give us wisdom. He came to give us teaching. That's what the whole book's supposed to be about. But in the beginning, I don't want y'all to know nothing. Why can't we have wisdom? Well, that's a tree of good and evil. To know the difference between good and evil, light and dark, that's wisdom. Now you have to have knowledge and understanding to comprehend it. And we're told the whole way afterwards to look for wisdom. Wisdom is our sister, and understanding is our closest kin. And people get mad when people want to take this to the Gnostics, considering from their understanding, wisdom was Sophia and understanding was Nos. I think they say whichever. And before that was knowledge. It's like, no, guys, that's thought. Before there was thought, there's basically what we'd call cells or little balls, spheres, and vibration and all this other stuff going down to the very depths of it till you get to the point of almost source being nothing more than a dream until it began everything. Your God has how many eyes to see what's going on? Source has no eyes, one mind, understands it all. It stands outside of time, inside of time, in every moment of time, every possibility of time, at every potential. You talk about a multiverse and the different parallel universes, and take it as big as you can imagine. Source stands in every moment, in every vessel, in every body, in every time, in every potential, outside of time, inside of time, before time, after death, all of it at once. Why do you think so many people talking about these timelines shifting and they're confused? Because all these possibilities, as far as source, I'm real. As far as source goes, well, these are all potentials. The ones that are right, I'm about to bring all these together the way it's supposed to be. And the ones that don't want to listen, they can have what they get. We get a new world. We get a new earth. So many people run around screaming, forget this world, back to the fifth dimension or fourth dimension. It's like, no. This stuff wasn't created. Why are you in a rush? We haven't explored nothing out there. This was done so we could explore, so we could have the sensation. We're told in the blink of an eye, the world will be remade. But people going around telling you, we're going to go, we're going to leave. Forget this world. They're trying to get you to give up. The way the world is now, it's horrible. But we're promised a better world when this marriage comes. When this wedding happens, the world begins to change. We got time to experience this. No eye has seen, no mind has imagined. Not back then. Stan Lee did a pretty good job. People talking about it. I've seen it in spirituals, superpowers. Now, I am not talking about Lex Luthor versus Superman or Doctor Doom or none of that. Do you think Source is going to give those beings, those people that are not responsible with them, any kind of powers yet? These powers are not meant to fight like what people think of when they think of superheroes. No, it's meant for me and Jessica to be able to, we want to go look at the sun, feel how warm the sun is and draw energy from it. We fly to space. We fly to the sun to feel the warmth and energy. We're no longer feeding off food. Everybody's talking about you need to be plant-based, animal-based is cruel. Both ways you're feeding off living things. You need death for you to live. Source is not going to be that way when this comes to fruition. We'll be more like plants. We will get our energy, vitamins, nutrients, everything from the source, from the sun, from the direct light. And we'll drink a little bit of water. We won't need nothing else to survive. Immortal bodies, incorruptible. Again, we go up there to the sun. We get to feel it. We get to see how hot it is and enjoy it. We get to fly around in the vacuum of space, or whatever they say space is. We'll find out when we get there. We go explore the moon, watch supernovas explode, watch galaxies be formed. I mean, y'all ready to leave this and you haven't, we haven't even experienced this whole world yet and people are ready to bail. And I understand the way the world is, but these are people that read the books. They're like, oh, we're just going home. We're just going home. Like, why are y'all so ready to go there? Do y'all not realize what have y'all not read the book and focus on the source to know what's coming? I mean, can you imagine you and your partner, you and your friend and their partners flying around, exploring the Big Dipper or Ryan's Belt, or going and watching, looking into a black hole, just popping your head and seeing what's on the other side of the dang thing. Going and having a picnic on a volcano as it's erupting because it can't hurt you, but it's a beautiful sight to see. The things that we see are impossible right now are not impossible then. All things are possible with the source, but only if you'll get to the source. And as these two beings wake up, again, the father's awake, the mother's waking up. When she wakes up fully, mountains be moved, and no hell like a woman no hell seemed like a woman scorn or whatever. And it was all the father loves his wife. He's gonna honor his wife. He ain't gonna lie to her and misguide her nothing. When she wakes her butt up, he's been fighting everything on him while she wakes up without them knowing who she is. When she stands up, you watch that lion stand behind this lion as she roams, and it makes sure everybody does what she says. No different than your children at the house. Children do not normally listen to mother. It is the father's job to make the children listen to the mother. It's very simple in how this is done. You're his dad. Your kid's scared. It's not scared of you. You're getting discipline, right? If not, then you're not. They shouldn't want no discipline from you. Well, how do you transfer that to the mother? Very easily. Mother, mom have a pet name for you. Whatever. Playful tone. Hey, get your butt in here. And you know she's playing. Oh, sorry. You act panicked and worried and just. Those kids fear you so much, and to see that fear in your eyes about her. Now they're going to start fearing her. But you won't do that. You won't respect your wife enough to show that she has power. So your kids won't respect her the same way. And vice versa. See, father and mother that's waking up, they're not coming to war with each other. They're coming to fix this stuff. A good father and a good mother to have a good world with a good son. How hard is this to understand? And we're all meant to be family. As long as you accept the family. It's only one family. And Source, everybody, what's your name? And this is what I hear, because I've asked Source this a lot. When we walk around as one, Joe, as we walk around as a family, I am not a father or a mother. I am a family member. I'm no more than a brother and sister, everybody. There is no hierarchy in the end of this, because when we get to the end of this, there is no need for anyone to tell anybody what to do, because we know what we're supposed to do. We're not going to have the way, no. Go out and enjoy your life. Basic rule is don't force anything on anyone they don't want to do. That's the basic rule. Because by doing that, you fulfill loving everybody as God loves you, because he ain't going to force nothing on you. Loving people as you love yourself, you won't let stuff be forced on you, so you won't force stuff on other people. Again, that's where the problem lies with Source. Ones that want to force things on certain people. No. Because Source gave us all free will. If he gave us free will, how can he interact and intervene at times? He's still on our free will. If you look back to the times he intervened, he's only intervened when people was messing with someone else's free will going to take it. Again, do unto others not as you want them to do unto you. Do unto others as you want Source to do unto you. The moment you open that door and you start forcing your beliefs on them is the moment you open that door for God, for Source, to get you. Close that door, keep your free will to yourself. Let them have theirs. Be kind, be loving. Open that door and force. Again, door's cracked. Source going to reach in, and I don't know what you did, so I don't know what it's going to treat you like, but you know the rule. Golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated. The problem everybody's done is, well, I want Jim Bob treatment like this, so I'm going to do this, and that's okay. So acting like that person is Source. Because the way you treat that person is going to dictate if what people call karma is coming back to you or not. It has nothing to do with what that person even wants. That person may be aware of what you've done, all the lies and the stealing and whatever you've done to him. And they may be constantly I forgive them. I'm not worried about it. You're supposed to forgive them. That's Source's decision. Yes, I will forgive them, but that don't mean I'm going to let them keep doing this to other people after they keep doing it. No, it runs out. And it's not that, oh, well, they've done it again, I'm going to cast them to hell. No, I'm going to reach out and pop them inside the dang head. Hey, quit doing that. And I'm going to make their lives rougher and rougher until they turn to me and quit hurting other people. Not even, if I had two choices, people turning to me or them just not hurting each other, I would settle for this one. They'll quit hurting each other, because that would be turning to me in a way they did not understand. They would feel both. It's the hurting of one another I cannot stand. I will not allow. Family, it's why we do it. Again, why is God so wrathful? And Source, when it gets that way, again, the mother and the female figure and flesh, you're messing with their kids. If you're not a parent, fine. Go mess with my daughter. Go try. There ain't no one that knows me that tell I will take my. And Jesus, you better take the wheel. Because it's what we do for family. And family is not by blood of this world. It's love. What I would do for my daughter would be no different than I'd do for any kid if I saw something happening to them in front of me. What I would do for my mom helping her would be no different than what I would do for any other lady or gentleman at that age that needed help. Because each person you look at, you're supposed to see the source within them. And this is why it's so important for you to love the source above all else and love yourself as the source loves you. Because in the end, you're the same. We're each different, unique in our own way, but you can't love other people until you love yourself and source enough to know how to love these other people. Well, they said something bad to me. They don't know any better. Why are you mad, screaming? Why are you telling everybody else this stuff? Are you not slandering them now? Keep your mouth shut. Talk to Jesus. Talk to Yeshua. Talk to Source about it. It will deal with that. Again, to the people that ain't out, beating people over the heads, maybe something like that, but get out of this world. That's what this is about. If you want to say go into that church and listen to your preacher, it's your choice. But maybe you ought to read that book a little bit more thoroughly. Maybe you ought to play it at night while you're sleeping and let it soak in. I mean, I'm a little bit over 4 years old, starting to even realize what was going on. I didn't have no one around to help. When I did find people, preachers or whatever, I was crazy. And it was, what do you think you can do? And it was just, even trying to get baptized. Like, well, what's the reason for getting baptized? It's like, I'm trying to find, and they never did tell me what their reason why, what it's supposed to be. It's like, because the book said we're supposed to. But that wasn't a good enough answer. Well, in the end, I don't need their baptisms. I understand what baptism actually is. That's the old way. That's traditions of man. Baptism of water is the repentance. When you break knowing what you've done to other people, thus the source, and cry. When it's true repentance, the baptism of water is those tears. And you'll go through this each time that you break knowing you done something you shouldn't have done. And honestly, people say, is God being hard on you? It is you being hard on yourself from the very depth of your soul as the source tells you what you did was not right. But it is you listening to that being hard on yourself. We're not meant to make it easy. Yeah, if it's easy, it wouldn't be worth it. And everybody still has a question of, well, why didn't the source just start it off this way? That's enslavement. That's tyrannical. That's robots. Source wanted a family, not slaves. Never agreed with slavery, but people's understanding, right now, we're going to move you away from this. And we're like, well, he said it's okay. People understood that it was okay. They couldn't comprehend the full thing it was saying. Slaves is okay. Yes. Source said this because you're going to be a slave to this world or to the spiritual realm and to one of these beings you call God or to me. That's what I mean by slave. Only one of them's going to set you free in the end, though. The rest of them will keep you in bondage for eternity. People don't even realize how long this has been going on. Well, the book says 6,000 years. Oh, what, this go around? How many times have we repeated this abomination? Again, this was never supposed to last more than 7 generations. Adam to his kids. 7 generations before Source fully awoken in flesh. But because of what happened in that garden, it had shortened the lifespans so we can start recycling over and over. So the divinity in each spark, in each soul within us, could evolve and do what these guardians are supposed to help us do. Again, some of them are helping, some of them ain't. And I can't tell you which is which. I know if I had to call one of them out, I'm going to call fucking Odin out. And I have my own personal reasons for that. I don't suggest if you're doing this, you call out any of those things because, well, it takes time to build and get strong enough to be. And I know a lot of people that don't believe in this going, oh, yeah, well, you call it Odin, that don't really exist. Oh, yes, it does. Now, was it a being that was created by Source, or was it something that people created by their own imaginations? That's how powerful we are. A lot of these things that people are fighting in the spiritual realm is because other people have believed in them. And the truth of the way the battle goes is the faith. Well, I believe in Odin more, and I believe in Zeus more. The faith are both equally, and no, you're supposed to go into the Source. Source is the only one that can beat them. That's why most of y'all keep going loops around, and y'all quit. Start with the Source and the Holy Spirit. Spirit truth. That's all you need. It's hard, it's scary, it's rewarding in the end. I mean, anyways, to understand, since the 2,000 years have passed since then, we can understand things better that the Spirit is teaching us now than we can then. Quit relying on what they interpret from the Spirit then. Read it and ask the Spirit, what did you mean? And read all of it. Again, God don't change, but we can't eat certain kind of meats, and then all of a sudden all the meats he made was good. There's a spiritual message. They took as a worldly message. That was a misunderstanding. Don't eat from the dual hoof, the split mind. That's the beast. That's what the Spirit was telling us. Man interpreted, whichever one wrote it, I think Moses, we don't eat from a split hoof, from whichever, pigs and stuff. Because, well, that'll work for later, but the spiritual message is a double-minded being. Y'all should not eat the fruit from his tree. Y'all should not eat anything that it gives you. Again, double-minded, what we call Satan. Double hemisphere, subconscious and conscious. All this needs to be connected. Until you're connected, you're a double-minded person and you are unstable in all your ways because you're still looking at this world and trying to find Source, and you cannot serve two masters. Again, yeah, he says slavery is fine. He did not mean for us to enslave each other. He meant one way or another, until this comes to fruition, we're going to be enslaved to this world. One of the things call themselves God are enslaved to the search for the truth. And the third one's the only thing that sets us free. Everything else binds us. And it's worse than y'all can imagine. Again, there's no eye has seen the good things. The other side's pretty bad. Can you imagine being locked up with a Source, but him pulling all of his light out and him being just pure anger, not having no grace, no mercy, no nothing in that room for what y'all have done to these children? Now, again, Source is going to be outside too, with all of his light watching. But there's going to be a version of Source in what y'all call hell. That's what's going to be tormenting y'all. Not Satan, not Lucifer, not this, not that. It will be a version of Source with all the light pulled out of it to give you what you've done to others for so long. Now, in the end, again, spiritual beings more than people. This realm I'm talking about, what y'all call hell, but it's not part of the actual what it's supposed to be. This is meant for the spiritual betrayers, the abominations, the ones that have went against us. But if you follow them, you will go in there. But as hell was not meant for humans, an eternity, how long is an eternity? We don't understand time. Eternity don't exist because time runs out before it. Humans, if they'd ever look up from the horror that they're doing in this deal and actually see the light, I believe all human souls will come home because Source don't lose no one. Not none of his kids. But some of them got to be in jail for a while. You go, well, it's eternity. If God told you it was 100 billion, 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 those people were lost their damn mind. Eternity is the easy way to say that. Now, again, if the child never looks up and sees the light, the little crack that only human souls can see, the divine spark within can see, they'll never go up. The creatures, the spirits that went there, that did not listen, they had a promise from Source to begin with. Do as I ask. When this is all done, I will give you the same divine spark. Those that go against the Source, and these days are almost done with him counting. Don't know how long before Judgment Day starts after that, but his clock is counting. Those that have not done and set down these chains that bind humans by this date, they have sealed their fate. They will never get a spark of divinity put in them, ever. The ones that have changed and are coming back to Source and are helping humanity come out of this darkness, they will be given what they was promised. You cannot see the light without that spark of divinity in you, though. They knew from the get-go, the ones that Source made, they knew what was to be done, how it's supposed to go. But again, power hungry. We want to divide this the way it falls. That house divided cannot stand. That's why I came here. Y'all divided my house. Y'all lied. I've got to die with these people because the belief you got in their head, this is the only thing that's going to save them and bring them back. Because they have done the horrible things you said, but you've misinterpreted it and explained it to them wrong because you never raised them up and showed them properly. You let that child grow up out in the wilderness for 20 years and you got mad at him for stealing from a food store because he was hungry. These are the ways these things messed up. And then they blamed it on us. An infant, not knowing no better. And then every infant that came after it. And again, we're supposed to grow, 7 generations. They just got sped up. Souls have been being reincarnated. Anybody says souls don't reincarnate, according to the book, John the Baptist is Elijah from old. How many of the others were talked about coming back? And so don't say that. Now, if you want to mean they can't turn to horses, or fine, not yet. But once we ascend, if they want to become horses and play for a little while, they can. It's not reincarnation. It's a shape-shifting. It's a, I want to be this because I am a little source. That's the promise to us if we'll look for it. But if you're looking for it just for that, I don't know if that works. Not in the end. I mean, if you start with that and you move away from that and just it's the right thing to do and I want to know you and you're the only that really matters, then yeah. Then the only reward your mind should be even after about all this is what can you do to help other people get home? Because our greatest reward is not these superpowers, is not exploring this galaxy. In the end, it is sitting down at the table with every family member we can bring with us. Understanding that the enemy is at our foot. The enemy is in a box, sealed up, watching us enjoy our day, and he can't do nothing. And it's trapped there, and is that presence up with Source to make sure nothing ever tries to let it out. It can't be let out. There will be no door to this cage once it's sealed. It's welded shut. It will never come again. It's not a place you want to be. You'd rather be in one of the several different versions of heaven or hell to the ones above it than you would be to be in the utter darkness of gnashing of teeth in that box. When I say see, it's not because there's light. They can receive all the fun we're having, all the good times while they're trapped in that. The same thing that they have done to us here is going to be done to them there. Period. All the names I don't know, I don't care about. This is to all of them. The Source says your time is ticking. And there are some of y'all, I don't need to know. I can feel the resistance. And I don't care. It can't hurt me no more. But for the people struggling for the truth of existence, of duality, why we're here, what's the purpose of it, why do we have to have good and evil? I mean, and a lot of it's simple for us now because we've moved so much, as long as you won't be stuck back in those 2,000 years ago. You're saying nothing's changed, you haven't read the book, you haven't put the time into it, please change that. And again, you don't got to go to the book, just focus on God. If you want to use crystals, go for it. If you want to use tarot cards or fight, whatever, in the end, it should be just you, Source, and then whatever way it moves, not you trying to tell it how it's going to respond to you. Well, if it's a yes, I want you to do this, if it's not, you need to learn to understand its language, not you dictate how it speaks to you. And it takes time. Again, you're learning a new language that you've never heard before. And it's not audibly spoken like this, but yet it is audibly heard somehow. And sometimes it's spoken through this to other people, but again, those that are awakened to it, they know what I'm talking about. Those that aren't, well, we're calling yourself a child of God if you're not awakened to the voices and the fights and the battles and what's going on around us. I can go on about anything. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but I'm in this. And next time it's something I want to talk about it or something to talk about, I'll make another video and put it up. Love you, family. Please come into the light. Deal with your darkness. Become balanced between both. You don't come home pure light or pure darkness. You got to come home balanced. That's the only way this house works. Love y'all.